Hey Camping Nation, welcome back to another exciting episode of Saving Money. That's what this week is going to be, trying to save money. We're going to fix up that messed up grill that bolts to the back of the bumper. We got a new mount because the old one got trashed in the accident. And it's just going to be a quick little video on how to tune up your grill because these things fall apart and nobody wants to spend the extra money to replace it. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. I'm Andy, this is We Love to Camp. The camper's still at the body shop and I'm still hating it. I don't even think they've started yet. Why do they want it so soon? This is bugging me. Anyways, so what we're gonna do is, this grill is falling apart. It's not junk, it's just falling apart. So we're gonna go over a few things here, a couple low dollar fixes, and we're gonna make this thing as good as used. When we bought the camper, it came with this grill, and it's got the little mount that goes on the rear bumper. I love it, that thing is awesome. Also, if you remember, that got destroyed when I hit that van with the camper. So the dealership, they wanted to give me a grill mount, but it's for one of those, a griddle. I don't want a griddle, I don't like the griddles, I want a grill. So all it was, it had the articulating deal that folds up and gets out of the way, but it just had a flat platform. And sure, I could toss this in and just set it on there, but no. Last case scenario. So I got on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and found a stash of the correct grill mounts. This takes one of the two prongs, you set it down over the two prongs and it holds it on there. You can go down the freeway with this thing on there if you wanted to. I don't recommend it, but I really like this. Now, when we bought this camper, the previous owner told us that he had just bought this a couple seasons ago. It was already pretty beat up. I'm not sure if I completely believe him. I actually think he wanted to replace it, but he priced it and said no way. That's just what I think, because he did comment on the price. So when we got this, see, that handle's loose. This handle's loose. This handle is gone. It's missing the bolt that goes over on this side, and it's missing the actual handle. Now that I think about it, that handle might actually be in the camper. Doesn't matter, I've already got an idea. Now, on top of that, don't judge, this thing is nasty. Part of this is going to be cleaning it, but I probably won't do it on camera. I'll probably just show you the finished product because this thing is nasty. Now, one of the other things that happened, and it's a fairly common deal once your grill gets to be a couple years old, the cover that covers up the burner, it rusts away. And it dissolves and returns to Mother Earth. We were camping and I found this at Dollar General. I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be for. It has holes in it. What are you going to use it for? It was in the cooking area. So I saw it and I instantly knew what I was going to do with it, and it works perfect. I just need to mount it down somehow. I just stick it in there like that and it does the trick. You can see where the old one is rusted away, and even where it sits is rusted away. I don't know how bad they treated this thing. Maybe they left it out in the driveway, hooked up on the bumper. I don't know. So that's gone, and the fire was just killing the food. Problem solved. Believe it or not, that fixed it. Most of what I'm going to be going over is making a new handle. I had an idea, I've already had to revisit that idea, and I've had to revisit that idea. You'll see what I'm talking about. When I cook with this thing as it sits right now, I got to use the spatula, the handle where it's got the little hole in the handle, and I hook that on there, and that flip it open, because this gets to be 11 billion degrees. This is all thread. And as the name implies, it is threaded all the way down. In construction, we use this for all kinds of stuff. In my garage, I use it for all kinds of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge these holes right here and right here. I'm going to enlarge those holes. I'm going to take some all thread and I'm going to bring it out probably about 2 inches. And then bend it, have it come over this way, and then bend it in, same 2 inches or so, and have it go into the hole. I'm going to have to enlarge those holes. And then I'm going to cut it to fit and put hardware on it. Hopefully I've got some nuts and washers bolted on there. And what I'm hoping is that having it out that far away from the lid and having, you know, that much of this sticking out before it turns into the handle, I'm hoping that'll dissipate some of the heat. And what I was gonna do, I've got some old stainless steel line. What I was gonna do was slide this over the all thread so it gives it a pretty finish and would help dissipate heat. But this is too small and it doesn't slide over the all thread. If we would have had smaller all thread or bigger line, it would have worked. I'm going to start with tightening all this stuff up. This thing is nasty. It's just a Phillips head screw. Same thing on that side. Like I'm always saying, you don't have to use high-end tools. But it's nice. It helps. You can use just your regular old screwdriver in here that you got at the dollar store. But if you have the power tools, you'd be stupid not to use them. Okay, those are tight. So now I take off the remaining pieces of the original handle. That's trash, that's trash. I'm gonna keep that. You never know. And now, I need to hog out these holes. If you remember, we talked about this a few weeks ago, the step bit. If you remember, it just goes in, and then it goes in more, and then it goes in more, until you get to the size that you need. These are great. Again, not needed, but it's nice. Anyways, if I had 1/4 inch, then I wouldn't need to hog out these holes at all. You just hog out the holes until you can fit the all thread through it. Right there. Like I've said before, the beauty of these things is that you can use that next step to clean up the hole, the metal around the hole that you just drilled, because you always end up with stragglers and little pieces of metal just want to cut your thumb off. And that's never a good thing, not over the burgers. So all you do on that is just push it in to where it bottoms out and then just hit the throttle. You're not pushing, trying to get the next one through. You're just trying to push that and just clean up the edge. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm starting with. A little bit more. Oh, one more step. Like I've said before, the beauty of these things is that you can use that next step to clean up the hole, the metal around the hole that you just drilled, because you always end up with stragglers and little pieces of metal just want to cut your thumb off. And that's never a good thing, not over the burgers. So all you do on that is just push it in to where it bottoms out and then just hit the throttle. You're not pushing, trying to get the next one through. You're just trying to push that and just clean up the edge. The bad spot's always on the inside or on the other side of the panel. Yeah, you see those burrs? That'll make you bleed. And see, now all those burrs are gone. Beautiful. Now this is gonna be the part where some of you are gonna say this is common sense, and others, your mind will be blown. Maybe not, but it sounds good. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna figure out where to cut this. Thanks to the reflection of my bright yellow shirt, you can actually see these holes. Oh, that hole anyways. You don't even really have to know how to read a tape measure. You just have to remember what spot you stopped on. You want to measure center to center. Pro tip. If you measure center to center, it's hard to find the center. There's nothing there to stick it up to. So you just got to eyeball it. You eyeball things, they're not always right. Here's the pro tip. If you measure from the right edge of this hole to the right edge of that hole, it's going to be the exact same number as if you went center to center. Just got to remember those numbers. I'm dyslexic, that's hard. So, six and 3/4 inch spread. And literally, since I'm dyslexic, I need to write that down. 6 and 3/4. Now, remember, I said I want it to come out 2 inches. So what I gotta do is I've gotta measure 2 inches, 2.5 inches. We're gonna go 2.5. Mark it at 2.5, and that's where I'm gonna bend it. Then 6 and 3/4 inches, okay, be back here. And then mark it again, that's where I'm gonna bend it. And then over here, mark it again at 2.5 inches, and that's where I cut it. And once you do that, it's ready to put it together. Sharpie, because anything else is just a magic marker. I should be in advertising. Two and a half. Now, what is 2.5 plus 6 and 3/4? I don't know either. I've actually got a number in my head, but I don't want to look stupid. And here's a quick way to figure that out. This is a calculator. You go to 6 and 3/4, right here. And then you add 2.5 onto it. So you go from 6 and 3/4, you go to 7 and 3/4, that's 1, 8 and 3/4, that's 2, and then you have to add another half. So that's going to take me up to 9 1/4. See how that worked? So at 9 1/4, that's where we're going to bend it again. And then I want to go another 2.5 inches. So that'd be 10 1/4, 11 1/4 plus a half. It's going to be 11 3/4. That's where I cut. You don't need special tools to cut this rod. A regular old manual hacksaw will do the trick. I don't really recommend a sawzall because they can get violent. If you know how to use a sawzall and you got the right blade, it'll work. If you don't know how to use it, you're just going to tear it up and bleed. I don't like bleeding. I'm funny that way. Makes quick work of it. Frequently, when you cut all thread, you're going to end up with a jagged edge. See there it is. See a jagged edge? I know it's blurry. You have to, it's not going to focus. So you take that jagged edge and you carefully grab some pliers, channel locks, vice grips, whatever you have, and you try and peel that off. And then you know it's good. See, that's not good yet. I can't see right now because I don't have my glasses. I left them in the house. There we go. All right. I got the nut to get on there with just half of a thread, and I was able to spin it on there and just bully it past the hard spot. And now I'm going back and forth on that hard spot, and it's getting easier and easier each time. And what I've effectively done, I did pull some of it off the pliers, needle nose pliers, but it's effectively rethreaded. Still a little rough. And then you want to check the other end because you don't know what happened last time it was cut. That's a good cut. Trusty old bench vise. Ignore the clutter. Yeah, I'm still working on that. So you put it in there, right to that line that we made. And then you bend the rod. If you have a way to heat up the rod, that makes it a lot easier to bend. Otherwise, you just have to use brute force. And you hope that you don't split it. So if you split it, there we go. Then you get to start over and do it all over again. Now when you're doing this side, you got to make sure to bend in the same direction. Since I have that this way, I just need to bend it over like that. If I had it pushing this way, I'd want to go this way. But whatever way this is pushing, you want to make sure you go exactly that direction. Otherwise you end up with like this. And if you do get it on there, it's going to be all cattywampus. Technical terms. All right, let's get some more magic going here. Hopefully, and see, it doesn't matter that this one's a little bit longer than that one. That doesn't matter. But hopefully, my spread is correct. I always say I'll fess up whenever I screw up. Well, I screwed up. Something that I frequently do. You got the end that slides all over the place and you can't quite tell where you're lined up. So what I'll do is I'll cut an inch, is what we call it. I'll put the hole right up against 1 inch instead of up against 0. And then it'll be, show 6 3/4. But actually it's only 5 3/4. Does that 6 3/4 sound familiar? It's an inch too long. Always have enough to make up for mistakes. This one I also made a mistake, but it's a lot closer. When you're bending like this, it's hard to have precision measurements. So the way we're going to fix this, let's see how far out it is. 5 3/8. So it's 3/8 of an inch off. That's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And here's how we're going to fix that. Make the holes bigger. Almost there. Have to break out the big guns. That sucker's huge. Baby steps. It's a lot easier to drill again than it is to undrill. Yeah, I know, you're not going to undrill it. I hope that's it. Almost there. That hole's bigger than this one, so I'm going to start over here. might name this video How Andy Destroyed His Grill. Okay. There we go. So I had to stretch it out just a little bit. Now I know you're going to ask, what's Andy going to do about these ginormous holes? That's going to hide the hole. Beautiful. I mean, it's actually kind of ugly, but it's going to work. So here we go. On the inside, I do not want this sticking out, you know, like this, because then that's just going to be that much more metal to take on heat. And if it takes on heat, it's going to soak through here. And that's when you start screaming like Tom and Jerry when Tom burned his hand. Down there. You can be a pain, aren't you? There it goes. In my quest of trying to use cheap tools and not trying to use expensive stuff, I know I've already kind of blown that out of the water, but we're going to use a crescent wrench. Because all of you have a crescent wrench somewhere in the house or in the camper. And if you don't, you do need one. Yes. So much wind. So much wind. There we go. Sure, it's a little lopsided, but this is a judgment-free zone. I like it. I'm happy. Now all I gotta do is clean this up, because it's nasty. Oh yeah. Oh. That is disgusting. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to clean this up this weekend. So this is gonna be another project. It's not gonna get finished on the episode where I start the project. Matter of fact, we need to follow up on a few of the projects that we've done. Hopefully that'll be next week. But here we go. What I set out to do, I've done. I've got handles that aren't falling apart. I've got a handle I can grab to open this sucker up and hopefully not get burned. And even if this does still get hot, I can still just grab, you know, the spatula and just, remember, it'll be fixed to where it's down, it's anchored, so it's not gonna flip back. But you know, I can just grab the spatula and open and close it like that. So even if this gets hot, it's not a fail. Judgment-free zone. I'd considered painting it, but no, I'm just gonna leave it like this. Bask in my Joe Dirt fixes. How's that for low buck? That's how I like doing things. The thing is, a lot of us spend way too much on our rigs and our trucks and the gas and trying to keep our families happy for vacation or for just short jaunts on the weekend. We spend a lot of money doing that, and not everybody has a lot of money. So if I keep the repairs low buck and I teach you how to do it, then you're saving that much money over buying a new grill. $200 for a new grill or $10 for a new mount, and how much? A foot of all thread and a few nuts. What is this, $15? You know how much the RV dealerships are charging now? Pushing $200 an hour. and nothing happens in less than an hour. So I fixed this for less than 40 bucks and an hour of my time. That's a win. That's a win. Of course, you know, still need to clean it. So that's going to be it for this week. Hopefully you learned something. If you learned something, or if you liked it, if you like being cheap, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Go over to the Facebook page. We love to camp. Facebook. Camp with a K. Come on over there and come by and say hi. Ask questions. Ask questions for what we can do next week or in a couple weeks. You got an idea? You got a question? I might have answers. I might not. But this is a total low buck win. And if I wanted to fire it up tomorrow, the gas line's in the camper 100 miles away. Okay. So anyways, like and subscribe. And if I don't see you in the comments, we'll see you in the campgrounds. Take it easy.